Welcome back, Natalie. It's nice to see you again.
Good to be back.
Like we did last week, I'm just gonna start out with a mood check and see where you've been. We don't have to go over any of the confidentiality stuff or anything because we already did that last time, unless you have any questions about that have come up.
Nope. Still, pretty clear right now.
Okay. So do you remember kind of how we did the mood check last week?
The scaling, was it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just last week you were saying that you were feeling anxious and stressed, and to do that you were feeling slightly depressed. So if you could just rate your mood again like that for me, for how you are today. We'll do that first. Yeah.
Scale of 1 to 10. 1 was the worst, right? And 10 was the best. Probably a 6.
Okay.
6 or about a 6 or a 7. I'd say today.
Okay. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that? How that's feeling for you? What's causing you to be at a 6 or 7?
Yeah. Well, I got a lot accomplished. This past week with kind of like the stuff we had talked about and the homework and everything, which helped me out
Good.
some. So I feel like I was a little more productive. I feel like it also helped me kind of reevaluate like my thinking and stuff because we had talked about that a little bit last time too. The only thing is that again, there's just a lot of assignments, a lot of things I have to get done, do, and then I'm just struggling with being able to, I guess, not stress myself while I'm doing it, while I'm getting it done, because there just seems to be a lot of work.
It's overwhelming. Yes. Okay. So what about over the past week? Not today. Overall, how was your mood during this past week since we met last?
Well, I think it was probably about a 5 and 6.
Okay.
Like before, I think I had said like I was at a 2 or 3 and stuff. It was kind of lower, but probably like about a 5 or a 6, just because I did start seeing some progress.
Good. So the things we talked about and had you work on this week seem to be helping.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Okay. I'm going to take a few notes today, if that's okay with you, just so I can keep things straight in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to just set an agenda for the rest of the session. What things are important for you that you'd like to talk about today?
Today, well, I'd like to talk about, I guess, the schooling situation still with, like, the stress and everything I was feeling.
Okay.
That would probably be, there were other things that happened during the week that were kind of stressful, but they got fixed.
Okay.
So I think that would be.
The main thing is school.
Yeah, just school.
Okay. Is it just school in general, or are there like different parts that are stressing you out that we can break it down into?
I guess just particularly one class because it requires such a huge amount of work.
Okay.
And I guess I'm just feeling like I really need to do well in the class, and I just feel like everyone is so much smarter. I feel like I'm the only one that's struggling. Like everyone else has it together, or is getting the work done on time. Because I'll talk to some people and they're like, "Yeah, I'm done with everything," and I'm feeling like, how did you get that all accomplished? And I know some people, they have like kids and they have full-time job and everything, but I'm doing 2 jobs and practicum and everything, so it's stressful.
Okay. We're going to come back to that, but I'm just going to put it down on the list for now. Is that okay? All right. As far as how the rest of the session's going to go today, I'm just going to get an update from you about what's been going on this week, what things in particular have been stressing you out. We're going to talk about about how the homework went that I gave you last week, and if any new problems have come up, which you've already kind of said not really, but we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. And then we're going to come up with some new homework for this week, and we'll just discover what that's going to be together.
Okay.
And then I will give you a little summary of what I heard from you today, give you a chance to tell me if I'm on the right track or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'll be some time for you to give me some feedback.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, perfect.
Anything you wanted to add to that, or?
No, it sounds like a good plan for today.
Okay. Well, let's move on then to getting an update. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about this week, what's been going on?
Well, this past week it was, I was busy. I had practicum 2 full days. I had work still in between all that. I started my second job. Was having to also figure out my housing situation, which we had talked about last time as well. I had told you the issues with my roommate and stuff like that. But thankfully that got resolved and that we found someone good to replace her and stuff. And it's pretty much all I can think of. It's just having to manage all that, everything I had to do. So.
Yeah, there's a lot on your plate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just having to juggle all that and deal with it all and get it all taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Since school seems to be the thing that's stressing you out the most,
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me what about it's been stressing you out? I know you mentioned you have this one class with a lot of assignments.
Mm-hmm.
Are you feeling like you don't have time to get the assignments done? Are you feeling like the assignments are too hard?
I don't feel like they're too hard. I feel like they're really time consuming, and I feel like the amount of points that we get for the assignments, is not equivalent at all to the amount of work that we put into it.
So you're getting less points than the time you're putting into it?
Yeah, I'll put probably 3-4 hours into an assignment depending what it is, including all of the reading and everything that we have to do. And then when I look at the grade or the group, it's like 5 points or something. Yeah. So it's stressful. And I just feel like I'm the one that's struggling the most, I feel, than all my other classmates, because I'll talk to my other classmates and they seem just to have it all together. And I've done like this past week, we talk about like maybe finding a study group or something to help out. And I did that, but I feel like, I don't know if I want to continue going just because I feel like they're so smart. I'm not as smart as them. I feel like
okay.
At a lower level.
Let's just take a break here and talk about some of the things you've been saying. Do you remember last week how we talked about automatic thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there's something else called a cognitive distortion, and it's where you have a thought about yourself that is either inflated or not necessarily true or half true. So earlier you said that you're frustrated in school because you feel like everyone else is smarter or everyone else is doing better than you. So let's stop and like zoom in a little bit on what's going on. You're in your master's program, so I'm assuming you've made it through high school and elementary school and undergrad. How was it in those programs?
This seems like such a long time ago, but elementary and middle, I think I was average. It was fine. I accomplished. Undergraduate some classes were very challenging and difficult, but I got through it. So I just feel like now masters, I'm at the next level. It's a whole different ball game. So I'm required so much more. I have to do so much better, and I just feel like maybe I'm not there, up to par. I feel like for other people it's so easy, and I feel like for me it's so difficult, and I feel like that's why I'm having so much trouble, just because I must not be as smart as them. I must not be.
Have you heard from anyone else that they're struggling or that they're stressed or having a hard time?
Yeah, now that I think about it, there are some some of my classmates who are also seem stressed, but then again, they have families, you know, and they have all these other things that I don't have, and they're still getting stuff done, you know, and they're probably getting better grades than me, and it's probably not as difficult, as hard as it is for me, so.
And these feelings and thoughts are understandable because it is a very stressful, very demanding program.
Mhm.
But you have to stop and look at the evidence as well. You're in your second year of your program.
Mhm.
How did you do last year?
Last year, I mean, I struggled also, but I got through it, but it was hard at times also. I didn't get all A's like I wanted to.
Is that something that's really important to you, getting all A's?
Yeah, my parents put a lot of pressure on me, like in undergrad and stuff and everything, and I put a lot of pressure on myself too, so I feel like I need to get an A. It's either A, all or nothing, you know, so when I don't, I'm really hard on myself.
And there's that all or nothing thinking that we were talking about before too.
Yeah.
Either you get an A or you failed.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't necessarily true. If you get a B, maybe it's not an A, but it's still good.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of what I was, you know, we had talked about homework and everything last week. And I was, you know, to catch myself. I've been trying to catch myself with those thoughts and stuff. So.
What about other areas of your life? Do you find that you have that all or nothing thinking there as well? Where you feel like you have to reach a certain level or else?
I do. I feel like that also in my relationship. Also, some of my friendships as well. I feel like I have to be a really good friend or a really good girlfriend, and like there are requirements and stuff. And if I don't do it, like if I don't know, I have to respond to all text messages, respond to all phone calls. Like if my friend needs something, I have to be there, you know. And if I don't, then I'm just not being a good friend or good enough friend.
Okay. Where do you think that those thoughts and feelings are coming from?
That's a good question. I think maybe just my own I don't know, feeling of like, I don't know, my own insecurities, maybe.
Maybe some of the pressure that your parents have put on you too?
Could be, pressure. Yeah, because we definitely, like, in my family, it's kind of like, you have a reputation, you have a name, you have to really be a good example and uphold that, you know, really well as well, so. I mean, they're supportive. It's not like they're not supportive, but at the same time, there is that pressure.
Right. Okay, well, I think that those are really good things for you to keep in mind. Just to understand that that's how you work.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, you have to reach this level or else you've failed. And like we were saying, that's the all or nothing thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe part of our homework this week can be trying to figure out how to bridge that gap and find a balance. Because just because we don't reach the very top doesn't mean we have completely failed.
Sure.
So what are some ways do you think that you could help yourself remember that or realize that?
Maybe kind of identifying, like, maybe, like, because it was helpful writing the stuff down last week. So maybe doing that as well, kind of like analyzing or catching myself when I'm feeling or having those thoughts, those all or nothing thoughts, like you were saying, you know, those, maybe when I'm feeling really stressed, having to do that assignment, kind of just taking a minute to kind of think like, okay, Natalie, why are you feeling like this? You know, where's it coming from? Evaluating it.
Okay. How about when you start to feel like a failure? Stop and think, okay, Natalie, why am I feeling this way right now? And then you can see, oh, I got 3 points on my 5-point assignment, or 4 points on my 5-point assignment. And then write down all your thoughts and feelings about that. And we'll talk about it next week. Okay? Don't worry about making yourself feel okay that you got a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Just write down when you feel like a failure,
Mhm.
why that was, and your thoughts and feelings behind that, and we'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
Okay? And then, well, we can talk about this a little bit later in the session. So tell me about how your homework went last week. We had was it automatic thoughts, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me how that went.
It went well. I didn't realize how much those automatic thoughts actually come up, but it was really interesting to see, like, be able to identify them. Like, when I looked at it at the end of the week, like, when I looked at it at the end of the week and I just kind of saw how my week had gone and my thoughts and the situations and everything, I kind of realized that I do that a lot. Like, I have those thoughts a lot. So, it was helpful. It's definitely helpful to kind of have a visual and see
Good.
my pattern of thinking.
Good. It helps you catch yourself.
Mhm. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, which did in turn help me feel a little better this week and
Good.
not add stress.
Good. And I'm not going to give you that same assignment as homework this week,
Mm-hmm.
but keep it in the back of your mind. Keep it in your tool belt.
Mhm.
That if you are starting to feel stressed or down, say, hey, am I having automatic thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe try and see what those are. Because it's good that has helped you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that, yeah.
Good. And I like to think of all these things we're doing as a tool belt.
Mm-hmm.
And every new skill we learn, every new thing that you learn about cognitive distortions and how all that works, just stick it in that tool belt and then you can pull it out later when you need it.
I like that too. I like thinking of it as in that term.
Yeah.
Perspective. It seems not so much as like an assignment.
Yeah.
It's just more of a tool, a skill that I can use.
Exactly. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go on, I just want to stop and make sure there's nothing we need to add to the agenda.
Mhm.
If there is, you can just go ahead and let me know what you want to.
Adding to agenda, no. I think we're pretty good,
Okay, good.
with it. Yeah.
Good, then we'll continue on.
Okay.
Since you didn't have an additional problem that you wanted to work on, we're just going to continue on to the homework.
Mhm.
And we already talked about when you start to feel like a failure, what we're going to do for that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I'd like you to do, if it's okay with you, is when you were telling me things like everyone else is smarter,
Mhm.
everyone else does better. Like I said before, those are cognitive distortions.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you have a thought like that you think might be a little bit more inflated than it should be, write it down and try and figure out if you're having black and white thinking, which is that all or nothing kind of, or catastrophizing, making a bigger deal about something than you should, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a list before you leave so you can kind of have the definition of those things.
That'll be helpful.
Yeah, to remember off the top of your head. And then maybe just jot a couple down.
Okay.
And I think that might be helpful and we can talk about it again next week.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Perfect, yeah.
Okay. So let me just summarize a little bit what I've been hearing from you today. You've been stressed out and overwhelmed with school.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that we worked on last week have helped this week, which is great. We still have a little ways to go, but you're making progress, which is really, really great. You had other things this week that were stressing you out, like housing and starting a second job, and it's just really frustrating to try and juggle all these things. And you've been feeling like you're struggling more than others are struggling, and maybe you're not ready for this level of education.
Yeah.
And then we talked about your homework and just identifying those distortions and identifying when you're feeling like a failure and what thoughts and feelings are behind that. And I think that's basically what I've been hearing from you. Is there anything that I'm missing?
No, that sounds, you got it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I would encourage you to work on this stuff. I don't want to call it homework because that makes it sound even more overwhelming. But just work on these tools
Mhm.
and keep in the back of your mind the automatic thoughts thing.
Mhm.
And we will talk again next week. Okay?
That's good.
Did you have any feedback that you wanted to give about the session?
It was really good. It helped me. I like that you let me talk out and see really where this thinking is coming from, my thoughts. Excuse me. It was also helpful that you helped me identify and see that I do have that all or nothing thinking. So it's nice to see the connection from the automatic thoughts to now my other thought process that we were talking about as well last week.
Okay.
Those were helpful.
Was there anything that I can do next time that would be beneficial to you that I maybe didn't do today?
No, everything you're doing so far seems to be helping me. So.
Okay. Good. Well, it was nice to see you again. And I will get that paper for you on your way out.
Sounds good.
Thank you.